welcome. Today I want to talk about the world or the reality of wholeness. Now, when we come onto this planet, we're born, we're taught about the world of duality, the world of opposites. Okay, we have light, dark, black, white, morning, night, good, bad, right, wrong. And we are taught to focus all of our attention on one side of that duality and to avoid or reject the other side. Okay, so primarily what we're taught is to focus on the light, the love, the positive, the feel good, and everything else we're taught to push away. Now, first off, I want to do a disclaimer. I'm not saying that this is the wrong way to do it by any means. In fact, it might even be very necessary in the beginning of our life. However, as you progress on your spiritual journey, pretty good chance you're going to come across this world of wholeness that I want to talk about. And the world of wholeness embraces and encompasses both sides of the world of duality. So what this looks like is we live in a world of right and wrong. We take right and wrong and bring it into wholeness. Good and bad, we take good and bad and bring it into the world of wholeness. Awesome and not awesome, positive, negative, and we bring it into the world of wholeness. Now, one of the ways that I like to look at this is like a coin. There's two sides to a coin, and in the world of duality, we prefer one side of the coin over the other side of the coin, because oftentimes the other side of the coin tends to hurt people, right? Like if we're focused on the dark instead of the light, or the bad instead of the good, we may choose to hurt our fellow man. Throughout the ages, this has been avoided and pushed away. The uncomfortable, the dark, the black, the deep, the bad has been pushed away. Again, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. It's what I'm talking about is different, okay? And on a spiritual journey, there comes a point where you begin to see the need to embrace those negative emotions, to embrace the shadow aspects of yourself, those sides of yourself that could hurt people, that could harm yourself. You begin to learn how to embrace and love, give love to those aspects. And instead of avoiding your shadow sides, your potential dark sides, your potential bad sides, you begin to look at them and you begin to embrace them and you begin to love them. And doing that is taking that light side of the coin and the dark side of the coin and choosing to see the whole thing. Now what happens is that once you choose to see both sides, you begin to see that it's something that's whole and not something that's two-sided. Once you begin to see this as whole, it changes form. It changes form. This is the most exciting part to me that I've discovered, is that it changes form. You no longer see it, perceive it, and act from a place of light and dark. You now perceive and experience and respond from a place of something completely new, and that completely new is pretty darn incredible. Okay, so I was shown this recently. If a person focuses completely on the dark, well, let's do the dark this way, completely on the dark side of the coin, okay? And they don't want to have anything to do with the light. They only want dark, okay? They may do some pretty rotten things on this planet. Pretty rotten things. but they actually do not have power. And I'll talk about this in a little more in depth in a minute. People who only focus on the light, all light, all light, all light. Let's not look at the dark, the shadow, the uncomfortable, the painful, let's avoid it. Let's not look at it at all, okay? I'm completely avoiding anything that looks dark, negative, painful, hurtful. Somebody who's that extreme in the light also doesn't have power. And it's way out of balance. Way out of balance. So there's a reason that like the whole yin-yang symbol is the dark and the white, the black and the white, right? And amidst the black, there's the white, and amidst the white, there's the black. This brings the two into balance. Now, when, how can I say this? When someone begins to embrace the shadow sides, the uncomfortable emotions, the potential darkness within themselves, they begin to bring their self into balance. Now, the really exciting thing is once you bring yourself into balance and you're not scared of your shadow sides anymore, you're not scared of the uncomfortable feelings, you're not scared of the things you've judged in your life about yourself or the things other people judge, when you're really, really familiar with that monster that you've been running from your entire life, the monster changes. Everything about it changes into a completely new form in which you cannot perceive the light and the dark. You perceive it completely different. Something else is birthed, and this something else that's birthed, because it is in wholeness, is powerful. It is amazing. It's dynamic. It's not about hurting. It's not, because you're not focused in the dark, only on the dark as being bad, you don't see it as bad anymore. And therefore it ceases to be bad. So it changes form into something totally different and something totally wonderful. So we need some examples at this point, I think. Okay, so I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to share something I share with very, very few people, and it's because it's so misunderstood. And that is the world of light and dark, spirits, entities, beings, okay? And this is actually the avenue that I really was taught about the world of wholeness. Mostly, I think, because I do so much work with the spirit realm in my intuitive readings, and I talk to people who have passed and deal with angels and beings from the spirit realm. I got to learn this one very quickly, and I'm so grateful. So, I used to see entities as light and dark, good and bad, okay? And then I started looking and facing the shadow sides of myself. I started doing this work that I'm talking about. And as I did, I started noticing this whole world of the light and the dark changing dynamically. I started seeing the negative entities as not negative anymore. They weren't necessarily what I would call angels or positive beings, okay? Like I said, it's not the light nor the dark, it changes form. What happened was I began to see that everything that occurred was for me. So let's say, for an example, doing a session or doing my own meditation work and somebody dark showed up. I would no longer perceive them as dark and something to be afraid of. And now I perceive them as more of someone or something in need of love. That's it. That's not something to be scared of. It changes form. And what an opportunity that is for me to perceive that this being, this energy, this thing is something that's needing love versus something I need to run from because it's going to hurt me. If you're in the world of duality and that's your mindset and you believe that you can be hurt by this, then you can. You give that energy power. But if you believe, or if you see, because it's really not even a belief, if you can see everything in the world of wholeness, you're no longer perceiving this as something that you need to run from, something that needs to be avoided, something that can hurt you. And because you do not perceive that it's something that can hurt you, you no longer give your power to it and say, oh, you can hurt me. You go, oh my goodness, I already know none of this hurts me. And you just need some love. Let's give you some love. Okay? Now, I don't expect you to embrace this and understand this at this point. It has taken some people a really long time to get to that place, and it took me a really long time to get to that place. So I want to talk about this with another example, okay? Circumstances. Let's take circumstances of your life. We as a society judge circumstances in our life as good or bad, should be happening or shouldn't be happening. What I'm talking about is when you merge into the world of wholeness versus duality, you stop seeing life and all the experiences of life as shouldn't be happening. And instead you start embracing this is what's happening, and your whole mindset and perception shifts to everything is for me. Everything's amazing because it's for me. It's actually serving me somehow. And you let go of the judgment, and you let go of the resistance to what is occurring, because now you see it in its whole form, and its whole form is that everything is for me. See how it changes form? Instead of like the light or the dark, now it all changes and everything is for me. Everything serves me. Everything blesses me. Everything's taking me somewhere beautiful and amazing. This is what's possible in the world of wholeness. Now, how do you get there? How do you get there? Well, first off, I want to tell you how yummy it is here. This world of wholeness is what I would say is freedom. So my whole life has been focused on absolute freedom. In fact, early on in my career, that's what I called my business, was absolute freedom. I didn't have any clue about all this stuff at that point, but I think because my focus has been all about I want absolute freedom, that it led me to this place of discovering this world of wholeness, in which the more and more and more I step into this world of wholeness, the more and more free I am. Free I am. Because if you're focused on something that you can't look at, right? Like I'm all in the light, so I'm not going to look at the dark. 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 That dark has control over you. It has control over you. And it will continue to haunt you until you turn and you face the monster. And then you begin to recognize the monster is not the monster any longer. The monster transformed into something beautiful that serves you, that loves you, that befriends you, that walks this earth with you. And at that point, you are no longer controlled by it. You get to make the choices of what you want in your reality. And that is free. That is free. You're no longer controlled by your emotions, other people's emotions. You're no longer controlled by negative energy or positive energy. Energy just becomes energy. It becomes in its whole form. You don't deal with positive or negative energy anymore because it's all for you. All of it's for you. And it all serves you. And when you have the perception that it all serves you, it does. See how freeing that is? Okay, how you're going to get there? How are you going to get there? There may be many paths to getting there. I don't know. I can just tell you the way that I got there, okay? And that is by beginning to embrace the shadow sides like I've been talking about, And that means looking at them, okay? Facing it, breathing with it, receiving whatever information's there about it, and loving it, being very gentle with it. And as you embrace it, that's what helps you to shift your perception about it. That's what helps you move into the world of wholeness. It is not about denying duality at all. At all, at all. Sometimes people will in their efforts to try to get to wholeness, will deny this world of duality. Oh, that's the world of duality, so I don't want to be focused on that. Like there's something wrong with it. And that's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about embracing all of it. All of it, embracing the world of duality, embracing your perception, embracing the negative energies, the negative emotions, the negative whatevers, as well as the positives, embracing all of it and bringing all of it into the same space and being in a space of love with it, embracing it. Don't resist any of it. And when you do that, you naturally, easily, effortlessly fall into a place of wholeness. So you got to just be willing to face it, to feel it, to be with it, and to love it. That's it. That's your only job. And then it changes. And it's quite miraculous and pretty beautiful over here. And I also want you to know it very potentially could come in phases, stages. I'm not here in every aspect of my life, but I am here in some. And because I'm here in some, it encourages me and it excites me to embrace more and to move into the wholeness more fully in all the areas of my life. I'm going to probably talk about this one a lot more in other videos. This is just the introduction one. So this may or may not make sense yet, and that's okay. I'll keep talking about it, and eventually, if you're not there yet, you'll get there. It's not a problem. Embrace exactly where you are. That's part of it. It's all serving you. There's no need for resistance or pushing or efforting or trying to make any of this happen. Just be with what is. And that's the biggest thing. Be with what is in a space of love. And you'll get there. You'll get there when the timing is perfect and right for you. Thank you for joining me.